Hi everyone, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ellie. Today we are doing the end of January wrap up. I have a Percy today. I got a new office chair, so now he has an office chair. He's busy licking his tail. You're all very welcome for this image. Okay, so end of January wrap up. This isn't going to be a very long one, also apologies about the mess. I didn't really read that many books at the second half. I was kind of in a slump where I was like reading things, but I was taking a while to read things, and usually I read a couple of books at a time, and I just couldn't decide what to read this month, so I didn't. I have 5 books here that I did finish, but otherwise, I just kind of didn't really read that much, and it took me a few days to read some of these. So yes, short one, but I wanted to do a little breakdown of the month as a whole, and I want to be talking more this year about my TBR and sharing what's happening with that, my physical TBR, throughout the year, so that if you guys are interested, and also just kind of for my records as well, because I track it all myself, but I feel like sometimes even if it's just there, I don't really pay that much attention to it, and that sort of thing. So we're going to talk about that first, then we'll talk about the books. He will continue to lick various parts of his body, and we'll get into it. So, first up, I read 15 books in total this month. My goal was to make it to 17, and I am having to film this on the 31st so that the video can go up tomorrow. So there is a possibility I might finish something tonight. I did have a live show, or I do have a live show tonight, yesterday, with Mel. I will link that below, because obviously that will be available for you to watch back if you're interested. And yes, so there is the possibility that I may finish something tonight, but I'm kind of doubting it. Okay, so yes, read 15, 5 for this part. 9 of those came off my physical TBR, so that's good. I also bought 14, so not really evening out, but I did unhaul 24 books. So a lot of those were me taking off Agatha Christie's that I had on my shelf. I am replacing my entire collection slowly, and I just thought, why have I got, I think there was maybe 14 of them or so. Why have I got these 14 books on my TBR that aren't in the editions I'm going to read them in? And they're just going to make me more stressed. So I took them all off and I counted them as unhauled, so that, yeah, they weren't just sitting there. And when I do replace them, they will go on that list. So, I started January 1st with 227 books on my entire physical TBR. I think I got rid of quite a few in the first couple of days. The reason this room is kind of a mess is because I am reorganizing my entire apartment. This was kind of the first room to get started on and has not entirely been finished. But I had wanted Percy in the background, and now he's gone. Anyway, so yes, started with that, and I'm now, with everything that I've bought and read and unhauled, have 208 books on my TBR. I did get down to 200 at one point in the month, and then I bought books. And yes, one of my goals is to get under 200. And I'm hoping that I may be able to do that in March or April. I have ordered quite a few books in Feb. and I have some pre-orders and things like that are coming in. So, and also books for uni, which I will find about at the end of Feb. So yes, I have quite a few coming in, but I will be on a book buying ban in March and April, or a low buy is probably more the word. And yes, hopefully I can get it under 200. Whether it will stay there is a question for another time. But all of that being said, let's actually get into the books, because we're already quite a way through this video and I haven't talked about a single book yet. So there's a very definite theme going on with these ones that I didn't really realize until yesterday, when I went to have a look at what I had actually read and was like, oh, hello, there's a very particular genre there. And that is fantasy. So, midway through the month, I finished up The Midnight Lie by Marie Rotowski. My best friend Angel and I do these buddy reads every month, and then we write up a discussion and post it on one of our blogs. This one was the one for January. The discussion is now up on my blog, so I will link it below. I didn't like this. I gave it 3 stars. It's not the worst thing I've ever read, but I had very high expectations, having loved the Winners trilogy, and this was just not the same level of skill, I would say. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't really understand the plot or the world. It all felt very lackluster, like it was unfinished. It is the first book in a series, so in that sense it is unfinished. But it just felt like they weren't fully developed even for a first book. So obviously characters grow, they have arcs over multiple books, but it just, right from the start, just felt like they didn't have quite enough character to them to actually feel real. This is a female-female romance, and that was also just lacking. I just didn't quite feel like the characters actually had a relationship. Like you couldn't really feel that on the page, and it was kind of like, oh, so they like each other, but it didn't really feel like they actually did. And yes, you can see that discussion from Angel and I if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about my thoughts, her thoughts, and etc. So I will not be continuing with that series unless the next one gets some really great reviews from people I trust. But yeah, I'm doubting it. And then I did some rereads as well this month. I reread the first 2 books in the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon. Yes, this does annoy me. Here's the thing. I was going to replace these with all the new ones, but this one is signed. I got to meet Samantha Shannon when I was in the UK a couple of years ago. She has very nice handwriting, and a very nice signature. And yeah, I was going to replace these into the smaller ones, so at least they would match size-wise. And then I realised that my copy of the third one is also signed, because I got it from the publisher, and that kind of threw a spanner in the works. So now I'm just going to have 3 big ones and this one small one. But Bone Season, Mime Order, first 2 books. Really enjoyed these. I read them in like 2015 and 2016 and loved them, one of my favourite series, and I never read the third one because the 4th one was very up in the air, and now it's out. So reread these 2, started the 3rd one, haven't finished it, not very far through at all. Don't you dare jump on the desk right now, mister. You have a chair. I put the chair there so that you wouldn't jump on the desk. Cats. Yes, love these. So much that I missed and just did not remember. There was one character, I don't want to spoil, but one character dies, and I thought that this character died in the second book, but no, they didn't. So it was a very sad moment when I was like, oh, they're dead. Okay. So yes, I will talk more about that, hoping to finish book 3 in the next couple of days, and I haven't picked up my copy of book 4 yet, because I haven't really wanted to go out, because it's been miserable here, and but yes, I'll be picking that one up and hopefully be reading that one in Feb. I have so much to read, so we'll see. But next up, I read Australia Day by Stan Grant. Decided to read this on the day. For those of you who might not know, Australia Day is January 26th, which was the day that the British invaded. So it's also called Invasion Day by people who agree that Australia Day is probably not the best term for it. So yes, I wanted to read this around then. Stan Grant is a First Nations man, so I was reading a couple of books by different First Nations authors. I didn't finish most of them because they took me a little bit longer than I anticipated. So they'll probably filter in to February, but that's fine. You will see me talk about them. So this is just a bunch of essays about kind of the Australia Day, what's the word I'm looking for, debate, also what it means to be an Australian, and from a First Nations perspective. Stan Grant also lived overseas for a long time as a journalist in all different parts of the world, including sort of war-torn, like Syria, that sort of place as well. So that was a very interesting take, because he has all that experience and is also, of course, a First Nations man. So it was interesting to see that play into his thoughts and feelings. I think some of this kind of was a bit confusing. A lot of the essays deal with a lot of topics in a very short period of very short span of pages, I guess. And at times that was kind of confusing and overwhelming, but on the whole I did really enjoy this. And I will also link some articles and websites down below if you are more interested in learning about this sort of topic, specifically the change to the date movement, I guess maybe is the word for it. And yes, it'll all be linked below because I could get into that and it would be a very long video and whatnot. And then finally ended up with some more fantasy. I kind of needed something. I've been reading some non-fiction with that topic, and I needed something a little bit light and fun and just like quick was really my main one. So I picked up some Terry Pratchett. This is Equal Rights. This is the third book in the Discworld series, if you read it in the order that Pratchett suggested, and it's also the first book in the Witches sub-series, I guess, in that, yeah, it's all part of Discworld, but there are the like different parts of it. I really like this one. This is my favourite one of the three that I've read so far because it follows two female characters. I forget her name already. Granny Weatherwax and think it's Esk. I'm not really sure how you would say her name. Which is the young girl Esk is the 8th son of an 8th son, and becomes a wizard. Only she's a girl, not allowed to have girl wizards. And I really, really like this. It has a great quote on the back from the book that says, "Where does it say it? Where does it say women can't be wizards?" So, really enjoyed this one. I have the next 2 books in the series. I am doing a challenge called Turtle Recall that one of my friends is hosting. I will link her post and stuff below if you're interested as well. And yes, so I'm reading some more Terry Pratchett, and this was the next one I had to do. So there we are. That is the wrap up for this second half. This has kind of been a longer video than what I was hoping for, so I'm going to wrap it up real quick. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Friday will be my Shop My Shelves / haul revisit for February. So I'll see you all then. Bye.